Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Friday. Somewhere in the midst of June, in the southeast of England, on a planet somewhere. It's one of those days. Might be a long day today. May need coffee early today. Good morning. Good morning. If you are there, do please put a hello in the comments so that I know that you're there and I'm not talking to myself. Good morning, Kay. Good morning, Sue. Good morning, Maria. Good morning, husband. I can see you from here.
Oh, yeah, but I'm there too.
Welcome to whatever this is, Friday morning chats. I know I've lost the plot. Good morning, Jane. Good morning, Ness. It's been a very busy month so far, and we're not even halfway through it yet. And the rest of the month is equally as busy. Good morning, Emma. So I am probably a little dazed and confused at the moment. Good morning, Keith. Good morning, Christy. Good morning, Janet. Good morning, Denise. Morning, everyone. Good morning, Eva. Good morning. Good morning. Yeah. Is Eric outside or is he under that blanket?
I think he's in the garden.
I think Eric's out in the garden in the sunshine. There's a big pile of blankets in the corner, and sometimes it's difficult to tell whether he's under it or not. I think he's in the sunshine. Ness, love your jumper colour. Thank you. It's a little bit sparkly. Good morning, Tony. I needed something to zhuzh me up today.
Zhuzh?
Zhuzh, yeah. Zhuzh, that's the word.
Zhuzh.
I need a lot of that today. Yeah, so June, stupidly busy. But all fun. It's all good stuff. Big thank you to everyone that came to my talk at the College of Psychic Studies. Overwhelmed with the response for that. So thank you so much. What have we got? What have we got coming up while I'm waffling?
Kitchen Ritual a week today.
If anyone's doing the Magical Esoteric course run by Vicky Bramshaw, I'm doing a talk for that on Saturday. If you are doing the British Goddesses course, we've got a talk on Senua at 6 p.m. on Sunday. If you are a Kitchen Witch student, the lovely Gypsy is doing her last Reiki for us on Sunday at 7 p.m. She's stepping down as Hearth Guardian. She'll still be around, but she's stepping down from her Hearth Guardian duties to focus on other things. What else? What else have we got? Having my hair cut next week, but you don't need to know that. Kitchen Witch Ritual, 17th of June, Friday 17th of June, 7 p.m. Summer solstice one. We will be making bead poppets. It's going to be a bit of a laugh. I'm talking for Llewellyn online, Monday 20th of June. They've got a 10-day Llewellyn Con, free, but you need to sign up for your ticket. So head on over to the Llewellyn website for that. Myself and some of the girls will be at Pagan Tribal Gathering. And then I'm doing a 3-hour workshop for online for the College of Psychic Studies on Monday 27th of June. No, or maybe even Tuesday. Who knows? It's Tuesday, I think. Yeah, Tuesday. Sorry, Tuesday 28th. See, I have no idea what I'm doing. Tuesday 28th of June, that one is. Head on over to their website for more details. So yeah, total chaos. But it's good. It's all good. I like being busy. I'd like to sleep, but I like being busy. Good morning, Lexi. Good morning, Maharet. Good morning, Xenia. Colour magicness, absolutely. Yep. Bright and sparkle to give myself some zing. Good morning, Kerry. Good morning, Debbie. Good morning, Willow Moon. It's going to be mad today. Good morning, Trudy. Good morning, Jill. Yes, Pete's very kindly put up the link to my events page. To find out what I'm up to, head to my website, look at the events page. It's probably a lot more reliable than me waffling about where I am or supposed to be. Good morning, Jackie. Good morning, Luna, sorry. Or Looney. Good morning, Luna. Good morning, Abby. Jill, I am busy. June has got ridiculously stupid, which is why I don't know which way it's up at the minute. Good morning, Kelly. Good morning, Sue. Wow, lots of lovely people. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. Loony Luna. There's nothing wrong with it. It's a happy way to be. I don't have notes as such again this week. We had so much fun last week, just winging it and going with the flow. But I do have a subject. I do have a couple of bits and pieces inspired by a very lovely day last Saturday. Myself, Ness, Sue and Heather, Kitchen Witch Posse, collectively, were invited to lead the ceremony of hand fasting for two very lovely people in Glastonbury at the White Springs. And I haven't been to the White Springs for many, many years. It's changed quite a lot since I went there. There's lots of lovely altars inside now and a lot more candles. I led my first ever ritual as a high priestess in the White Springs, and it was pitch black. Pitch black, dark, wet. Couldn't see a thing. It was interesting. But it is now all beautifully lit, and we had such a lovely day in the White Springs, and then for photos in the Chalicewell Gardens next door afterwards. And a very lovely tea at the Abbey Tea Rooms. Very big thank you to the Abbey Tea Rooms, who catered for afternoon cream teas for normal people, gluten-free and vegan. They were absolute superstars, and it was all very lovely. Very lovely. Jackie, it looks like a magical event. It was a lovely day. Now, the White Springs isn't open all of the time. It is run by volunteers, so it does turn the phone off. So it does depend on when the volunteers are around. So if you get the chance to go and see it, do have a look. It is a very magical space. In fact, I think that was my favorite spot of the day. The energy in the White Springs was amazing, which led me to today's topic, sacred space. Trudy, lovely colour top, colour of creativity and uplifting. It probably looks a bit weird on the camera. It is actually red. It looks quite orange on the camera, but it's sparkly. Needed a bit of that today. Hang on, the dog needs the blanket moving. Right, in you get them. Come on then. He has to be tucked in. I know, it's sad. Good morning, Angela. Anyway, it is going to be chaos today. I'm not sure how much we'll get done today. Sacred space. That's what made me think about the topic for today. I have been struggling a little myself with my journey and my connection ever since the house renovation. And Saturday was the first time that I felt really connected. And it was the energy in the White Spring, because it was so amazing. And so it kind of led me to think, well, what is sacred space? What makes sacred space? Denise was at the White Springs 2 weeks ago. Amazing. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. It is a lovely space. And it was an absolute honour to lead the hand fasting too. Definitely. Good morning, Paula. The Glastonbury was full of lots of druids too. It was quite a busy day. So the question, what makes a sacred space? So I actually looked up to see what it says on the internet. And this is what it says. What makes a sacred space? What determines and what makes a site or sacred place sacred is if people view the location worthy of respect and dedication and believed to be holy. This causes people to care for and protect sacred spaces, where people may also make pilgrimages to worship and celebrate, which I think is quite a decent summing up. That kind of says it all, I think. Xenia visited the White Spring one time in 2019 and it was stunning. So many altars and candles. There are now. There's in each corner, pretty much, almost, because there's a water in one corner. They have different altars for different deities. I think one of them was Bridget, one of them was the Horned God. And they've got a main altar as well. And It's beautifully, beautifully kept, but they now have candles on every single ledge, so you can actually see what you're doing, which is a bit of a bonus. You can paddle in the water, you can immerse yourself in the water, but it is freezing cold. It kind of led me to the question, what makes a sacred space? Because the White Springs, as it is called now, is basically an old Victorian pump house. So it's not, and it wasn't a ancient sacred place. It's not like Stonehenge or something like that. It is Victorian, so it's old, but not ancient. And it was just built as a pump house. So what makes it then a sacred space? Which is what led me to the discussions today. What makes a place a sacred place? Chalice Well, again, is not ancient, although the water springs are. The White Springs on one side of the road, the Red Springs on the other side. In the Chalice Well is Red Springs. So the springs are ancient and natural and magical, perhaps, because the water comes out of the ground. But the Chalice Well isn't an ancient place either. So what makes those places sacred? And I must admit, I love the energy of the White Springs. I'm all due respect to Chalice Well. It's a beautiful place. I find the energy there quite sad. I think a lot of people go there to remember loved ones or to let go of their negative energies. And I pick up on all of that. But the White Springs was beautiful, beautiful energy. What makes it sacred? That's it. Yes, Jane. Does it mean a visit to my witchy room is a pilgrimage? Yes, absolutely. And I think this is it. Our witchy rooms, our witchy altars that we have are all considered sacred spaces. So water is off the Mendips, live at the foot of the Mendips. The water from the Roman baths is from the Mendips as well. The water itself is beautiful. Yeah, exactly. Trudy, water energy is amazing in itself, and it is. The actual water that's there, I think, is what gives off the energy. Jane, sometimes huge functional industrial buildings are referred to as cathedrals by people who are enthused about them. Yeah, I guess this is it, really. We, as humans, make it a sacred space. It isn't just, if someone decided that Stonehenge was just a load of old stones, would we then see it as a sacred space? It's interesting. It's us that makes it a sacred space. Maria, weird when you mentioned this place. That was a feeling I felt. Yes, was for remembrance. I think a lot of people go to the Chalice Well to light, candles or sit in the water and remember and ditch their stuff, really. Eva, my Sky Parlour, I do like that name. Attic office definitely has a different feel than the rest of the house. I feel better just entering. Yes, and I do think we do, don't we? We create that sacred space. You could create a sacred space in a dustbin if you wanted to, or in a 1970s concrete building. It's us that makes it sacred. When I looked up the meaning as well online, how would you describe a sacred space? It says, as meaningful space, sacred space encompasses a wide variety of very different kinds of places. It includes places that are constructed for religious purposes, such as temples, and places that are religiously interpreted, such as mountains or rivers, which I really liked because that doesn't just cover temples, buildings. It covers mountains, rivers, nature things as well. So you might have a sacred grove of trees, which would still be sacred space. And our ancestors in England, particularly way back, would have just worshipped outside. We didn't have temples. It was the Romans that built the temples. We would have just worshipped outside in groves of trees, or rivers, natural springs, anything like that would have been considered sacred space. Sue, my husband has always said Stonehenge is a supermarket. Take your cattle or crops there to swap. Do you know? He might be right. We don't really know, do we? Let's be honest. I think if we got in Doctor Who's TARDIS and went back in time, we would have to rewrite quite a lot of history, because a huge amount of it is educated guesswork depending on the archaeological finds, but we don't really know because we don't have anything written down from then. Particularly in Britain, it wasn't until the Romans came that people started writing down the history of stuff, and then it was from the perspective of the Romans. So he might be right. Xenia, very topical. Xenia, line in Pirates of the Caribbean where Jack wonders if the witch just gave him a jar of dirt. You're all singing now, aren't you? I got a jar of dirt. Yeah, it's magic, isn't it? She did just give him a jar of dirt, but it had meaning to him. Good morning, Karen. Can't wake up in Cornwall. It's a beautiful part of the country. Lots of sacred space there. Keith, I always feel that nature is my sacred space. Absolutely, absolutely. Maria, the woods are mine when I can find a space where it's more secluded. Absolutely. Good morning, Sam. And I think that's the important thing. I've had people say to me before, oh, I need to get to Glastonbury, or I need to get to Stonehenge, or feeling, I need that sacred connection. Well, actually, I'll be honest, I'm not a big fan of Glastonbury. It's not my sacred place. I would much prefer to go to Dartmoor. For me, that is the rolling moors and the stones is beautiful. But actually, my garden is probably my sacred space. That's the place where I walk out and I feel at peace. I feel connected. I feel relaxed. I don't need to travel a couple of hours in the car to get to a sacred space because I can step out into my garden. If you sit down in front of your altar, you're in a sacred space. We make them, we create them ourselves. We make them sacred spaces. And to be honest, Stonehenge, I've mentioned, I have been to Stonehenge a lot. Back in the 70s when I was a kid, I used to go there with my parents for picnics. We'd drive the car up onto the grass verge, just park it, abandon it there, and then take a picnic. It wasn't fenced off. And we would sit on the fallen stones in the middle of Stonehenge. Oh, look, a cup of coffee. Thank you. That's very kind. Oh, look, a cookie. Thank you. Doubly kind. Oat and chocolate chip homemade cookie, gluten-free. So, yeah, we used to go to Stonehenge and literally we would sit on the stones and have our picnic. We used to take all our rubbish home, obviously. In fact, my dad used to take us to lots of different sacred spaces because he was interested in the history of the land and of his ancestors. So we'd go to all sorts of different places. But Stonehenge for me then was just this big load of stones where we sat and had a picnic. Eric wants a cookie too. And I have been back since. I've been back as a visitor, walking anti-clockwise around the stones. Fenced off, obviously, can't get to it. I've also been very honoured to have been in the centre of it for rituals. And it's an interesting place. I was initiated at Stonehenge, which was an amazing experience. But for me, it's had too many energies through it. It's had too many tourists. It's had too many people all just crowding there on the solstice to get drunk and dance about. I think it's lost a little bit for me because it's had all of that commercial energy in it. You may feel different, and that's absolutely cool. Everyone feels and connects differently. I think Avebury's got a nicer energy. It's perhaps a bit less commercial. The stones out on the moors, for me, are even more special because they aren't commercialized. They haven't had all those tourists gawping and taking pictures and traveling through it. So I think it has to be a personal collection, but don't be kind of drawn by, oh, I have to go to a sacred space because it is a pile of ancient stones. Sacred space can be anything and it can be anywhere. Let's catch up on some of your messages. Oh, lots of hang on. rolling back. Jane, although our local Millennium Green is only 22 years old, with the trees a few years old when they were planted, the little grove of trees already feels like a sacred space because people have revere it, they respect it, and it then becomes a sacred space. Kerry, absolutely love the Chalice Well. For me, it's the one place in Glastonbury that I really connect with. Perfect, absolutely perfect. I think for me it is the White Springs, but I like the energy at the Abbey as well. I think that's quite a nice. Don't laugh. London's one of my. Well, I'll laugh anyway because I laugh at everything. London's one of my sacred spaces. London has a huge history. It is one of the oldest places, and it has an enormous amount of history behind it, Romans and beyond. So yeah, absolutely. And there's an awful lot of stuff under the streets that we don't know about in London. So absolutely. Jackie, my sacred space is my moon lodge. You've created that sacred space. It's your sacred space. It's got your energy in it. So absolutely. Sam, yes, agree. My garden is my sacred space. I think a lot of people will find that because you put your time and your energy into it. So it has your connection. It has your energy. So you're connected to it. Jackie, now I find Stonehenge too commercial. Didn't like it. It's changed over the years. I think if you've never seen it, it's quite small. I remember the first time going back to it as an adult and thinking, wow, that's quite small on the landscape. But up close and personal, the stones themselves are incredible, and I think each one has its own character and its own personality. But yes, personally, I'm with you, Jackie. I think it's very commercial now, but I understand that too, that it has to be looked after and protected, and that costs money. Sue, a lot of people don't realise what awful things were done to folk on top of the Tor when it was a church. Well, yeah, let's. The Tor, yes, the Tor is an interesting thing because the Tor is the actual mountain, the hill. The Tor is the grass hill. As you say, the bit on the top there was a church originally. So yeah, interesting, isn't it? Because it was a church, so it was a Christian church. And us pagans revere and respect it. It's become a sacred space. The Tor has become an icon. You haven't given the dog any of your cookie. That's why he's... Emma, my garden and my altar space is my sacred space. I called my ritual space the Silver Forest because I always saw birch trees in my visualizations. Brilliant. And that's an interesting connection too, because you don't have to have a physical sacred space. You're not going to shut up till I've eaten my biscuit, are you? Let me give him a bit of the biscuit. Excuse me, just going to feed the dog. There you go. You don't have to have a physical space as a sacred space. In our lessons, we teach our students to create your own inner temple, a place that you visualize and create in your mind that you can go back to. It's your safe place. It's your place where you gain insight and guidance. So you can create a sacred space in your head. It's free, doesn't cost anything, and you can create it to look anything like you want it to look. You know he's not going to get in his bed till the cookie's done. In your bed, handsome. Yes. So yeah, it doesn't have to be a physical space. You're stealing my biscuit for the dog. Yeah. I also looked up what does it mean to create a sacred space, and internet in its wisdom said sacred space is simply a space you create that makes you feel connected, safe and calm. It's a spiritual space that can hold items and tools for self-care. That sounds absolutely perfect to me. Absolutely perfect.
Got the coffee?
I haven't had my coffee yet. The coffee's perfect, I'm sure. London is steeped in magic and folklore, so I'm not surprised you connect with it so well. It is. It's got a huge history, and there were all sorts of our ancestors there, all sorts of history, particularly below the streets. Good morning, Sylvia. Sue was initiated at Stonehenge too. It is a quite an iconic place to have initiation at, absolutely. Angela, our house is very dark inside. French granite longhouse with tiny windows on one side only. Sounds beautiful. But I have a tiny tiled space, which is actually a hall with a door to the utility room. Daughter downstairs bedroom and big glass doors to the garden so it's light and sunny. Started using it to do my painting and creating, and it feels a wonderful space now, very peaceful and uplifting. I think this is creating your own sacred space. It has to have your positive energy in it. And as soon as you walk into it, then it will feel comfortable. And each time you work with that sacred space and add your energy to it, it will get better. Kelly, my altar is my sacred space, probably for a lot of us too, yes, and my bedroom. But I love the drive to visit my old friend in Gisborough. Driving past all the fields and woods with the window open is such a beautiful feeling. Yes, when we drove to Stoke the other weekend, the landscape out of the windows was absolutely beautiful. So much greenery, fields and hedges and things. Beautiful. Jill, I used to play at Stonehenge with my older brother and sister. My brother used to make me lie on a stone and pretend to sacrifice me to the druids. But you did it. Keith, it's the ley lines on Stonehenge that make it sacred. There are ley lines all across the country. They do cross through Stonehenge. A lot of them cross through Glastonbury. If you look at a map of ley lines, they crisscross all across the country. I'm not sure it's that particularly that makes it sacred. It certainly gives it an energy. If you've ever stood barefoot on a ley line, then you will feel the energy to it. There's some very strong ones that run under Knowlton. But I think it's that worship. It is that people making it a sacred place, respecting it, worshipping there, coming to it with that kind of spiritual energy that makes it a sacred place. There's possibly no ley lines under my house, but I consider it my sacred space. So I think ley lines are very special. They are very special lines of energy. But I think it's the actual rocking up and doing and celebrating and doing the whole putting your energy into it that makes a place sacred. Sylvia, I felt that connection with Scarborough. Hope to move there one day. Perfect. I've never been to Scarborough. Good morning, Leslie Ann. Planted 70 tiny trees at the pagan worship site. Oh, beautiful. What a lovely thing to do. Fantastic. Xenia, I'm a bit unsure about Stonehenge, which I haven't visited so far. On the one hand, it must feel commercial and sad with the fence, no access and security. On the other hand, they would protect the stones from masses of tourists. Yes, absolutely. That leave their rubbish, candle containers, plastic packaging, dripping wax on the stones. If you get to access the stones for a ritual, and I've done that several times with the Dorset Grove and a couple of other groups as well, you're not allowed to take swords or knives in there. You're not allowed to put wax candles or anything in there. They have very, very strict rules if you go in the centre for a ritual, which makes you laugh really when they open it to the public on the solstice and the amount of rubbish that people leave behind. But a majority of people that go there on the solstices probably aren't pagan and don't really worry about that stuff. They have got to look after it. I do understand they have to look after it, and I do understand that it costs money to look after it and protect it. But yeah, for me, it's had too much of the whole touristy thing. But other people find a connection with it. So I'm not judging. Everyone's different. You have to find what works for you. Karen, I have a few sacred spaces. The garden, Alderley Edge, Arbour, Low, and where I am now in Cornwall. There is, isn't it? There, when we were down in Cornwall the other weekend, Tintagel, lovely place, didn't feel connected. Bude, lovely place, didn't feel connected. Boscastle, lovely place, didn't feel connected. Some random beach, Widemouth Bay or Widmouth Bay, beautiful. We stayed there all afternoon because there was such a strong connection. It was absolutely amazing. Who knows why? Just one of those things. Paula, Donino Den is one of my sacred spaces and my garden. Absolutely. Xenia, I love the occult history of London. Oh, it's got so much occult history. The stunning architecture, River Thames, museum, shops, and the people. It's like any city, really. It has its own energy. it becomes a living, breathing thing. And all the buildings will absorb the energy too. So, yeah, absolutely. I think I've said absolutely about 73 times so far, but
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Rachel, I agree with you about Stonehenge. I find it difficult to connect when there are far too many tourists. Avebury is better, yes, but sadly it's getting a bit more commercialised. And I do understand that. They have to upkeep and protect and all that kind of jazz. My garden is my sacred space. It has better energy. The plants, birds and animals add to it. Not lots of people. There is that too. Sounding very antisocial. No, I hear you. To be in your own personal garden that you've added your own energy to and created how you want it to be, it's got to be very spiritual, very sacred. Jackie, wasn't the tower on top rebuilt in stone as the original was wood and was damaged? I'm guessing this is the Tor again. So the Tor is the hill, and the tower on the top is part of an old church. I don't actually know, Jackie. I don't know a lot about the history of it. But the tower is stone on the top there. So quite possibly, yes, because it does look more modern now. Definitely. Willow Moon. Imagine having to climb the Tor just to go to church. They must have had a very healthy congregation. For anyone that has climbed the Tor. Yes. Yes, you wouldn't want to be doing that every Sunday morning, would you? Trudy, if I'm near a stream and a forest or wood locally, I feel connected, and it's any place that I ground myself and just be. It's nature. The whole of nature is a sacred space, isn't it? Good morning, Charlie. Such fascinating talk. Nature, Avebury and waterfalls and places in Cornwall. When I'm with certain people, it feels like spontaneously a special, not sure if I'd call it. That will make a difference too, isn't it? The people that you're with. I've spoken about it before here in the chats and at their Kitchen Witch Rituals. The energy of any event is always made up of the people that are there. If you've got a whole load of negative people at any special place or at any event, then it's going to affect the overall feel. If everyone is positive and jolly and on board with it all, then the event will be special and it'll be a success. Christine, my sacred space is where there is the energy of a child, the peace in the air, and no horrendous commercialism. A warm and loving energy around me. Home. I hear you, and I absolutely applaud that. The minute you walk back in the door to your home, you're in your sacred space. Definitely.
Jackie on the floor.
Eric does pee a little bit if he's excited. We have to take him outside first when we come home. Jackie, Stonehenge is known as the heart chakra of the planet, which is due to the ley lines. I just felt confused by the energy when I went in March. There are ley lines all across the planet. And I know Stonehenge is famous. It is considered a very spiritual, very sacred place. I would love to know the history of it. I think it's probably a lot darker than we thought it, than you feel it is. But ley lines cross all over the place. So ley lines, I think, are a different thing. They are energy. They are energy lines. And it's fascinating to have a look in your area to see if you can find some. They do kick a powerful punch of energy and they do connect certain things. But I think it is the sacredness and the connection that you feel is very personal and perhaps not always due to ley lines as such. Jane, Stonehenge needs a major cleansing ritual to clear away all the abuse it's had. Yeah, it could probably do with that, couldn't it? Charlie, sacred happens. I can feel the energy and hear it really strongly. It can be in nature, but sometimes happen in a cafe. Yes, anywhere. That's kind of the point today, is that sacred space can be absolutely anywhere. We've all probably done it where you've walked into a building, a shop, a cafe, a church, a temple, anywhere, and felt, that feels a bit uncomfortable. Don't like the energy in here, it's hinky. The girls and I did it when we were in Bath. We'd been looking all around Bath and we went into the Abbey, which is right next door to the Roman baths, and which is built right over half of Sulis's temple, which is in the ground underneath it. Walked into the Abbey, and independently, all four of us went, "Don't like the energy in here. It's really horrible." And all four of us had to get out as quickly as possible. So you will feel it. I don't feel that in all churches. It was just that one. And I think that was Sulis kicking her, this Abbey's been built over my sacred space. So it will be different for different people, but you'll feel it in different buildings as well. And it will also depend on what has happened there, what other people have been in there before, what events have happened in there before, because buildings hold on to that energy. And it's, how you connect with it as well. Emma, also Sainsbury's in the Saxon Centre. I feel loads of Saxon energy there, despite all the other energies that go in and out. It will also make a difference as to what land it's been built on and what has happened on the land beforehand. That I've said before, Air House is on land that is, caveman old, and it's had layers and layers of generations and generations and generations of different buildings and different happenings on it. So your land holds on to all of that energy. Karen, our caravan is parked on an energy line. I have had the dowsing rods out and we have slept too well, and my little old lady Barley dog is full of energy and really happy. Yes, dowsing rods are really good for picking up the ley lines, aren't they? You can pick up on it. It's an interesting thing to look at, definitely. Sylvia, we had a little box room, as I call it, too small as a second bedroom, so all full with boxes. I think we've all had those at one time or another. We went 6 times to the tip to clutter out most of it and have half of that room now and my own space to craft. Proper desk instead of the dining room table. Should have done this years ago. You're creating your own sacred space. In the corner of a room, which might have boxes over one side of it, but you've created your own sacred space. And it is very easy to do. Senia, I find Cornwall absolutely beautiful and magical. It is a very, very beautiful part of the world. All of the West Country is, I think. Sylvia, Scarborough feels very Victorian, and I connect with that era a lot. Me too. Me too, Sylvia. I think the Victorian era was fascinating. Kelly, a lot of years ago when I still lived with my parents and first started practicing the craft, my bedroom was my sacred space and had an amazing energy. When I go in that room now, the energy's gone because you're not there anymore. I think this is the other thing with sacred space. You have to keep building on that energy. Each time you rock up and do something at that sacred space, respect it, dedicate yourself to it, do something there, put flowers on it, do this, do that. Each time you turn up, you're adding to that sacred space energy and you're keeping it alive. If you don't for a long period of time, then I think it kind of loses it. Karen's going to Widmouth Beach today. Oh, it is beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. I absolutely loved the energy there. Between Tintagel and Boscastle is wonderful. Lovely. It is a very pretty part of the country. But I loved Widmouth Beach. I thought it was beautiful. Senia, I visited Boscastle once and also went to St Nectan's Glen, Tintagel, Rocky Valley. Fell in love. Strong energy that matches with me. We did go to St Nectan's Glen before, not this time, but a few years back. It was raining. It was very, very muddy. And we got to the actual Glen part and it was all covered in plastic gifts and tags and pieces of non-biodegradable ribbon tied to things. There were tea lights everywhere. It broke my heart, basically. Beautiful, beautiful waterfall. But it had all been so much crap there, basically, that's not biodegradable, which was very sad, very sad. Kelly, just found it very interesting how I've not maintained it goes. I think it does. And the sacred space has to be, the energy has to keep going. You have to keep feeding the energy. Oh, so I have trouble in Cornwall. All I can remember is a toothache. It's memories, isn't it? We do hold memories and we do associate them with places and people. Sue, Stanton Drew stones for me. My first ever offline ritual was at Stanton Drew. That is a very, very amazing place. Lots of sheep poop is what I remember from that, but the stones are beautiful. Claire, I'm literally going to court. Oh no, to protect my sacred space. Came home, neighbour had knocked down a chimney they don't own and cut my grass. Well, that's just rude. How bizarre. Sylvia lives in Cornwall and it's indeed very magical. I think all of the West Country is. It has an awful lot of Brythonic history to it. Our ancestors and, before the Romans, big amount of history. Originally joined, obviously, to Brittany as well. Many years ago, obviously. Hi, Francis. I have been to many sacred spaces in ritual with others, but felt totally disconnected because I was freezing. That does make a difference. I think you have to create the space within yourself and find peace there first. Very wise words, Francis. Very wise words. You do. The sacred space comes from within you. Yeah. Jane, couldn't agree more, Sylvia. Cornwall is where I first learned about witches and magic. Cornwall has a very, very long history with witches and pirates, of course. Hi, Sarah. Avebury is better. Avebury has got a beautiful energy, hasn't it? And you can freely wander around and hug the stones if you want to. Andrea, felt no connection with Stonehenge at all. Avebury feels amazing as each stone is unique. I feel very connected to Glastonbury, though. I felt that connection even before going there. A lot of people do. It is a very, very popular spiritual place. Angela, our house is on the St. Michael, Dragon, Apollo, and Athena ley line. It is fascinating to find out about all of the ley lines in your area. Oh, dog's back. Ley lines known as the St. Mary and St. Michael lines twist and cross almost like the Cadeas. I can never say that Cadeas symbol. All the churches along ley lines are known as St. Mary and St. Michael. It is, isn't it? It is fascinating to look into ley lines. The dog's going to be a pain in the butt today. Let me just get him. Come on then. Come on then. Let's get you up here. Come and say hello to everybody. Come and say hello to everybody. There we go. So, Eva, as a kid, there was a field down the road that I just couldn't bear to enter. Years later, I mentioned it to my mum and she had the same feeling. Other female friends of mine had the same feeling. It's interesting, isn't it? It is, because the land holds on to energy. The land holds on to all sorts of energy. Whatever's happened there before, you don't know a lot of the time. It just, you can feel it. Leslie Ann, the sacred space inside us just needs a clear, clean area to expand in my humble opinion. I love it. Your opinion is always on the ball, Leslie Ann. Always. Perfect. Willow Moon. We have an ancient stone circle about 5 miles from where I live. Over the years, there have been 2 churches built inside it, just ruins now. Then the council built a motorway bypass through the middle of it. One stone is in the middle of a roundabout, another stone is at the edge of a playing field and people sit on it. Oh, well, at least it's accessible. What are you doing? Can I give you my cookie? Because he's going to... That's what he's after. Not there anymore. Emma, it was a burial site. Found lots of graves under the Saxon Centre. It has a sad energy, but when I quietly say my hello and be at peace, I feel a peaceful energy wash over me. It is history. The land holds on to the history. Xenia, I agree. The inside of a person influences the space, yes, but the space influences the person too. It's not one way. It's all energy, isn't it? Energy is flowing. And whether it flows from us outwards or we pick up and take it on board, it does flow both ways. We can protect ourselves against it, obviously. I remember, let me do this one. Angela, our garden is pentagram shaped with a beautiful weeping willow, beautiful trees, smack bang in the centre. She dropped a couple of large twisted limbs in a storm recently, and she's opened up a space underneath her boughs, which feels fabulous. She's inviting us to use it. That's amazing. Amazing. Beautiful trees. we went to Hastings many years back now, and we went to the field where the battle was. Just it's not actually in Hastings, just outside Hastings. And the overwhelming feel of sadness was just horrible. I had to protect Shield quite quickly there. He wants his blanket on. He's not being helpful today. Francis, that was Pete offering to put Eric in the skip. Francis, Cornwall not so spiritual day, quite wet. Cornwall does tend to have its fair share of rain, that's for sure. Sue, yeah, sheep poop. You can't walk around Stanton Drew stones in bare feet, no. Sylvia, as living in Cornwall, I went to St Nectan's Glen, King Arthur's Castle before my spiritual journey, and realised years later that what I felt there was magical. Plan to go back and do it properly this time. But there are. I've been to lots of different places considered spiritual, considered sacred, and a lot of them do have beautiful energy. But it's like personalities. We don't get on with everybody. As humans, we don't get on with everybody. Some personalities clash, and I think the same happens with places as well. But those places also hold on to energy, so it will depend on the different energies too. It is, you're the person that can make a place sacred, and it doesn't have to be one of these sacred sites. It can be your dining room table. You can make it yourself. Angela, we love the rollright stones. Some I still haven't got there. It's one of the places on my list to get to, but we still haven't got there. And Avebury, lived about halfway between the two when we still lived in the UK. Yeah, I've heard a lot about the rollright stones. Yes, it's Eric's being a doodah. Leslie Ann, if you always go well shielded, yes, only complementary energy gets in. The rest you can see and feel, but it doesn't affect you really. It is a very good point. If you walk into any of these sites, make sure that you have your shields in place, because sometimes, like I did in Hastings, I wasn't prepared and I got hit with it all. I very quickly, shields up, red alert. Do be mindful that in a lot of these, particularly the ancient places, that horrible things will have happened. So you don't want to be picking up on those negative energies. Xenia, often I feel more when I'm alone in that place than being with other people. With people I'm with, I'm more focused on the people or their energies overlay the energy I feel from the place. That's why I love going alone. And it will depend on who you're with. When I'm with the girls, Ness, Sue and Heather, we are so in sync with each other that we'll usually pick up on the same things. Not each other, because I think together we've got a connection anyway. So when we are visiting a sacred place, any place really, we will often pick up on exactly the same things rather than each other. We'll connect with the energy of the land or the building or wherever it is we are. But if you are in a group of people that you don't know, a tourist group, it is very easy to pick up on all of the other energies. That's where your shield comes into play. That's quite useful in a group of people anyway. But it will depend on the different people that you're with, absolutely. Karen, you will find St Nectan's has changed quite a bit. Good. I'm going back probably about 14, 15 years now. The last time we went. I am pleased. It has changed. Sue, no parking at the rollright stones. It's on a mainish road. Oh, okay. I'll get there one day. Emma, our living room altar is a family sacred place. My own is in my bedroom, garden and mind. There's a lovely energy down by our little river. Laughter, fishing, no fish biting, just happiness. And I think that is important. You create your own sacred space anywhere that you want to, anywhere that feels right. Angela, we were part of a hand fasting at the rollright stones a few years ago. 2 coaches of Japanese tourists turned up in the middle of the ceremony. It was hilarious. We used to do it. Part of the deal with a lot of the groups that do rituals inside Stonehenge, the deal is that you dress up. basically, which when you're doing a big important ritual, it's only manners to do so anyway. But so we're all in the cloaks and the headdresses, druid robes or your witchy dresses and staffs, and the amount of tourists that actually stop us to take their photo is hilarious. I think they think we're just there as a kind of show thing. Oh, okay. The St Nectan's Glen is not what it is, more commercialized now. Oh, I did hear someone say that it was quite expensive to get in there now as well. And I do understand that places like that have to have upkeep and they have to make money to look after. But oh, that's sad. That is very sad, because it was a beautiful space. It is the way that a lot of things go, which is very sad. Sylvia, I went to one of the first holistic events in November last year, just after we were allowed to do events. The energy there was incredible, very dense and heavy, but so positive, as everyone was so happy to be able to do events again. Yes, the first event I did in person earlier this year was the Wild Witchcraft conference, which is on again next year. It's brilliant because it is a nice size event, not too big. And there's just one speaker on at a time, so everyone gets to listen. And the energy there this year was at the ceiling. We had to actually do a bit of grounding because everyone was so excited to be back out again that it was buzzing. But it's a nice event anyway. But yeah, you will pick up on stuff. Andrea, back in Portugal, I went to visit an old church I don't know what that is, Coimbra, and felt really awful when outside. I felt in pain and saw a woman being burnt. I've done a research to discover it really happened there. I went to Portugal when I was 16, 17. I remember it being a very beautiful place. That was a very long time ago. Yes, there's history to things. And if you are witches, if you are spiritual, you're probably going to pick up on that stuff. So just be mindful that you can shut it out if you want to. You can bring your shields up. But I do, as witches, if you are quite well trained, you can pick up stuff on that without taking on that horrible stuff on board. It's just interesting to find out, and interesting to find the history of a place as well. Xenia, at least I haven't seen any rubbish at St Nectan's Glen. Sadly, yeah, non-biodegradable ribbons in the trees, coins in the fallen tree trunks. That it makes my heart ache. It really does when they do that. There's an old tradition of taking a silver coin and literally cutting a hole in the tree and shoving the coin into the tree trunk. It is an old folk tradition, but it's horrible. I have the feeling that staff takes care of the place. It is why people put biodegradable stuff and all this. It's horrendous. I understand why people do that thing, because they want to make a wish or make something happen or bring themselves luck or whatever. But biodegradable stuff, people, please. And please don't put coins in trees. Angela, the Royal White Stones is lay-by type parking about 15 cars alongside of the country road. Okay, I will get there one day. Sylvia, I thought I read not long ago the ribbons have been taken off the trees. Some places do regularly clear it all out. Jane, we hold our local moot in a 15th century inn. There are lots of energies there, including an invisible hand that ruffles people's hair and pints of beer. Bonus. Yeah, we have a lot of history. We do have a lot of history. A lot of historic places. Eva, I hate seeing people put coins in natural springs. The metal is so bad for the water. That is actually something that I only more recently thought about. It was on a water priestess course that I was doing, and it hadn't really occurred to me because it's so traditional for people to put coins in the water. The Roman baths, they've got coins that have been thrown in the water from, pre-Roman times. So it is something that happens, and it happens in every water. I think as human beings, we are kind of we've got this thing. Oh, there's a well. Oh, there's a spring. Let me throw a coin in it for luck to make a wish. It hadn't actually occurred to me that, yes, because coins are metal, they can leach bad things into the water. So, yeah, it's a more recent thing that I have learnt to be more conscious of. Karen, they sell paper ribbons at the shop now, I think. Okay, in St. Nectan's Glen. Well, that's more sensible. Far more sensible. Xenia, maybe the carers of the place should educate people on harmful traditions, maybe offer biodegradable alternatives. As long as the tree trunk is fallen, is rotting and dead, okay, but not put coins into living trees. I think that all depends on the people running the place, whether they are that way inclined, whether they do think about that side of things. It would be nice, wouldn't it, if they did think about that side of it. Angela, the Rollright stones also have the witch's tree and the whispering knights, which is another small group of stones which resonate and make a sound like whispering or buzzing when conditions are right. It's a very magical place. It's always sounded magical, and there is a connection with Terry Pratchett there. I think some of his ideas were based on the Rollright stones as well. Xenia, lead cursed tablets in Wales. How many people in the past would have got ill when they're drinking from the water? Yeah, Roman baths again. There were 130 pewter tablets found in the spring where people had actually written curses. Those were, but they'd thrown in pewter plates and bronze jewelry and all sorts of stuff. It is a historic thing. We like to throw stuff in the water. Yeah, it doesn't bear thinking about, really, does it? Charlie, I feel the same about coins in the tree trunk. I have a really strong reaction when I see it. Yeah, I wonder if it was a misguided way Christians were still subconsciously connecting to pagan roots carrying on. Interesting. It is quite an old folk tradition of putting the coins in the trees. It does date back quite a long way. People do it now probably without even thinking about it or knowing what it's all about. Karen, the waterfall pushed me over at the glen. Oh no, it was freezing. I went right under. I'd been thinking about it, but it decided for me. You put that thought out there. You put that thought out there and it happened. Janet, when passing by a body of water, I leave my reflection in it. I think this is it, isn't it? We've got to kind of retrain ourselves to give offerings and to give thanks, but in a form that's not necessarily tangible. That we cut, you don't have to put a coin in the water. You could, your reflection is perfect. You could just speak some words into it. You could sing to it. You could do a dance. I mean, it's they don't want me singing to it. That would just be horrible. But it is about thinking less materialistic things and more gifts of word or sound or something that's not going to harm it. Christine, went to Cornwall years ago, rented a cottage that was so damp with water running down the walls. Oh, I lived in one like that when I was a teenager. It rained most of the time I was there. Kind of put me off going back to Cornwall. I have to admit, last month when we went to Cornwall, we went to Tintagel and it rained. When we stayed in Tintagel 15 years ago, it rained all week. So Tintagel's obviously quite damp. Willow Moon, when I do my rituals in sacred spaces, I leave them as I found them, perhaps taking litter away with me and put cash in a charity box. That is an excellent way of doing it. Jane, people wouldn't shove coins into a cow. I think there'd be a bit of I think the cow would object. or each other. Eric really wants to steal the show today, doesn't he? Why would they do it to any living thing? I remember reading something about it. I can't remember what it was all about then. But it is such an ancient thing. Yeah, Leslie Ann probably wouldn't have made much difference back then as all their water pipes were lead. Oh, yeah. And then we move on a bit further and we had lead in the paint as well. We do like to do horrible things to ourselves, don't we? Xenia, maybe educating people in when the offering has dissolved like paper, the wish is being granted. will lead to using more biodegradable offerings that disappear very fast. I think we have to, it's difficult to re-educate people when they're so used to doing things like the coins in the trees. A lot of the people that are doing that don't know why they're doing it. And a lot of people will probably do it because they've seen the coins already in the tree. Oh, other people have been doing that. We are a bit sheep-like. Oh, coins in a tree for good luck. I'm going to do that too. We do it. Emma, if there's fish, you could put good food for wild fish in the water as a way of giving thanks or as an offering. And I feed the birds. I feed the birds regularly as my kind of offering to the goddess. It's about looking after nature as well, isn't it? Oh, Jill's on the case. Just Googled putting coins into trees and this came up. The tradition of wish trees, where coins are pressed into the bark of trees, dates back hundreds of years in Britain and is believed to have originated in a superstition that the offering to nature would help to cure an illness. I knew I'd read it somewhere. I knew it was quite an ancient tradition. They are for healing. And people do it. And they'll keep doing it because they see other people doing it. And they'll see the coins in the trees and they'll keep doing it. Thank you, Jill. Angela, originally coins were either pure silver, gold, or glod. Now that's a Terry Pratchett word, or copper. So would not have been detrimental to the water. Silver purifies, gold does very little, and copper may have made it better to drink. Yes, but of course modern coins have all sorts of crap in them. Yes, they do. So detrimental to the water and us. You are quite correct, Angela. Well done. Yes, that's makes perfect sense. I did sound very patronising then. I didn't mean that at all. I meant have a gold star. It's what I meant. Yes, thank you for that. That's absolutely spot on. I better leave it at that before I insult anybody else. I didn't mean it. Xenia threw coins into the wishing well at the Witchcraft Museum because it said it's for good luck and they will use the money from the world to fund the museum. There are a lot of places. In actual fact, the Roman bath does have a pool of water that you can throw coins into because it's separate from the spring. It is just a pool of water that they do for donations. So they'll collect all the coins afterwards. Yeah, a lot of places do that. That's no problem whatsoever. So, Angela, my apologies. I did not mean to offend. Thank you for the information. That's kind of, we're well over an hour now. Interesting subject. Just, you don't have to travel miles and miles to a sacred space. Your sacred space you carry with you in your head, in your heart, and you can create any physical sacred space yourself. You just got to rock up and be there for it. You create it. Doesn't matter where it is, what it is. It's your call. It's absolutely your call. So thank you, as always, everyone, for joining me. Interesting subject. If you want me to talk about anything in particular, do message me, and I'm going to go and sort the dog out. Thank you so much. Oh, bless you, Angela. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you again next week. Have a fantastic weekend, everyone.